Hello and welcome to IT Chronicles. We're here in Las Vegas at the Data Center Conference from Gartner, and we're here today with Charlie Betz.
Carlos.
And Sachin Chheda from Nutanix. Welcome.
Carlos.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you.
All right. Sachin, big news with Nutanix, your IPO this year.
Yes.
That's, congratulations are in order. Now, you've really established yourselves as leader in the hyperconverged space. And as we were talking, you're moving now more into enterprise cloud.
Yes.
And I think you're doing a panel here at the conference. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your world?
Absolutely, Charlie. So Nutanix is a company. We were founded in 2009. We started shipping product in 2011. And our first phase of the company was focused on helping customers make their storage and their data center infrastructure invisible. And that was the whole concept of hyperconvergence. We've since moved beyond that, so we still do the whole concept of hyperconvergence, but we're now adding value around the concept of enterprise cloud. And what that means is basically taking the best of both private cloud or on-prem infrastructure and the scalability and flexibility of public clouds and putting them together. So customers at the end of the day get the best of both worlds with a Nutanix solution.
That's great.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So you must get a lot of questions as to, what is the current conversation around the value proposition of private cloud? I mean, of course, obviously you've got a lot of public cloud options, but a lot of people are still choosing to maintain ownership of the asset. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
That's a great question. And I typically always say, start with what the customers need from an application perspective, from an IT service perspective. And that's what really decides the decision between private cloud and, say, public cloud. In our case, again, we have customers that come to us running a wide range of workloads. And we're talking about workloads that include VDI, and that's about a quarter to a third of our business. But a majority of the customers that come to us are looking to run their business critical applications. And these are applications like SQL Server and their databases, CRM, ERP, et cetera, supporting that, Oracle environments where they're again running the full stack there, and then also SAP. And for these customers, the option of having an on-prem infrastructure is driven by the fact that a lot of these workloads are fairly predictable in nature, and the economics for public cloud may not be the best. Now, they may look at other options as well, where they go to like a service provider, and Nutanix has quite a few of those service providers. We call them X-powered service providers, but they basically use those services for areas where they need to burst or for development and test environments, et cetera, or even more specifically on the DevOps side of the world. But customers also see a need for on-prem based on the predictability, the economics, and the control that they want over these applications.
So what I guess is that value proposition, that differentiator basically between you and we've spoken to others that are kind of in this space.
Yes.
So what is that differentiator between yourself?
So the key differentiators from a customer perspective are around, first and foremost, the ease of deployment and the ease of management. Nutanix as a company, we've internalized the concept of design, and more specifically, how do we use that to simplify a customer's environment? So we have customers that oftentimes deploy in less than a couple of hours, and then they can scale in a very elegant fashion and manage in a very elegant fashion, reducing the amount of time they spend on the infrastructure itself. And this is the point I made earlier, where we're making data center infrastructure invisible so people can focus on the application. The second aspect to this is that we basically are built on what is known as a web scale design or web scale architecture. This basically means that customers can start in a very modest configuration, a small configuration, and then non-disruptively scale. So for example, if I'm a customer that's deploying, say, VDI to begin with, I could start off with a very small cluster of Nutanix systems and then add more workloads. And by adding these workloads, I can scale my system without disrupting the earlier workloads that I had. And that's not uncommon here, where a lot of our customers start off with one workload, but they see value, and then they get into other workloads. And a big part of that, and not to go too long here, but a big part of that is also the performance we deliver as well. So we've designed the architecture, as I mentioned, around this web scale principle, where we can deliver really good performance from a storage perspective, from a compute perspective, to help run some of these large workloads on that front.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, design thinking, those are major themes now in product management, so it's encouraging to hear them being applied to hyperconvergence and internal cloud. It is all about that ease of provisioning, that fast provisioning experience so that people can get on with writing the application and getting out to their market and getting feedback. So very good, very good. In terms of actually, when people actually are interacting with the platform, I assume you're doing a lot of API-driven things. Are you using some of the Amazon APIs?
That's actually a great question. So we have two ways that our users or our customers interact with their system. So first and foremost, we have a management framework. We call it Prism. So Nutanix Prism. This management framework is a easy, consumer-grade, simple design environment where basically you go in and you interact with your system and you get metrics around not only your storage platform and your compute, but also the hypervisor, the virtualization stack. So that's one of the ways that our customers interact with them. Now, behind the scenes, all of this is API driven.
Right.
So our customers some of our customers that are more code savvy, that are getting a little more involved in the actual automation and workflow, they do use the whole concept of APIs. And we have a rich set of APIs that, again, we publicly publish. Matter of fact, Nutanix has a community edition version of our product. So our customers and even the community at large can take a look at it. They can download it. They can even run it in AWS or some cloud service. So they can basically learn how to code to those APIs and use it from that perspective. Another part of the overall experience, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but it ties back to the whole API story, is the fact that we have our own native virtualization platform. We call it Nutanix AHV. And so in addition to supporting VMware, vSphere, and Microsoft Hyper-V, as we have done for the past couple of years, we now also have our own native hypervisor. And that allows people to actually take the full stack view and then automate at the API level for not only the infrastructure at the back end, like storage and compute, but also now looking at the virtualization stack as well.
Now, is there a particular industry that you see really taking advantage of this more than others?
We actually have 4,400 customers across a lot of different verticals there. That's actually one of the areas of focus for my team. And so we're seeing great traction on not only the mainstream deployments that you would see at, say, manufacturing and retail and financial services. We're also seeing good traction around healthcare. We're seeing great traction in the public sector as well. So state, local governments, federal government, as well as education. So you name it, we have customers there running.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, a lot of times we have these conversations. There's so much more that we could touch into. So definitely looking forward to maybe in the future bring you back on, kind of see where it's grown, see what new advances you guys are doing.
Would love to come back. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.